Hey, so here I am on my next journal entry, and I left off with talking about financial planning and seeing what realistically your runway is, right? Because I think that's like our biggest hesitation, or at least that's my biggest hesitation when I wonder what's holding me back? What's holding me back from trying to do this, essentially, right? And the big thing is financial stability. I don't, I'm at a certain age. I not only that, I have responsibilities. I have two very young children, have a mortgage and all that other adult stuff that's boring that holds us back and keeps us from honestly trying new things. So I've got everything on that checklist. Um, so when I was talking to my career coach about this, she's like, you have to talk to a financial planner to really realistically know if it's possible, if it's financially possible, because I'm not just going to go into this blindly. Like, it's very strategic, it's very planned out, and I want to be as practical as possible, right? So I went to, and I've never thought about having a financial planner. And I will say, before I even talk further about this, is regardless, even if you're not trying to, start your own business or whatnot, I highly recommend the financial planner. I wish I had gone to one earlier because they help you, plan your financial life and your stability according to what your priorities are. So, for example, when I met with her, she was like, they ask you things, obviously they go over the basics, like you have to give them all your information with what funds you have, what you have in retirement, and your expenses and everything like that. And so I gave her everything, and then she'll ask something like, well, what's your goal? And in this instance, my goal is to say, how how can I do this? How can I quit my day job and my full-time salary and create this business? So for me specifically, she, and also not kind of sacrifice my lifestyle in a way. Well, where I live in my home and not having to like sell real estate and move to another part of the country or something like that. So for me, those were my priorities. Another person could be like, well, my goal is to retire at 45, which I actually joked with her when she's like, when do you want to retire? And I was like, I don't know, like in 5 years. She was laughing. She's like, I don't think that's gonna happen. But so in that way, it really helps. And for me, what the outcome was, and she gives you different scenarios. Well, my financial planner did. So she gave me like 3 different scenarios, let's say. One scenario is what it looks like if I just stay in my full-time job. I forget about this idea of starting my own thing full-time, and I stay in this full-time job. And then the second and third kind of alternative lives that she kind of planned out for me is how can I survive and build this dream that I have? And the first scenario is like, okay, well, I'm going to give you 2 years where you make pretty much nothing and you stop contributing to things like retirement funds and you dip into savings for 2 years. But it's doable. And she was giving me, I think, 3 years to kind of come back to what my original salary was. Not even my original salary, actually. Probably like 75% of my original salary. So 3 years. So I was like, okay. So that felt like breathing room, right? It's like, okay, I don't have to make up my salary within a month or 2 months. Like, I have enough breathing room where I can establish this business and it'll give me 2 to 3 years to kind of come back. And then I'll be fine. And all the like school education funds and retirement and everything would be really good. And then the third scenario was like, I don't know, it was kind of me pushing myself like, ideally these businesses aren't just gonna replace my full-time salary, but exceed them. So I was like, well, give me this like magical scenario where like, my personal businesses just, grow rapidly. And what does that look like? So just basically give me motivation, right? because it's visioning. So I'm visioning what my future is going to be. And so she gave me all those scenarios. One hard bit about it was my like my original scenario where I keep my full-time job and whatever. She's just like, yeah, you're pretty good. Your life is good, and you can keep on doing your things, going on your vacations, and living your life with your full-time job because it pays really well. And that was hard because I was like, oh yeah, well, and especially like we don't have the luxury of me just quitting, because candidly, I make more in the household. Just my career and my occupation has always made more than Matt's, which is totally fine. But it's a lot of pressure too for me to continue that, income coming in, unless we decide to just, I actually joke that we should just sell everything. If we sold the real estate in Manhattan and, we could easily retire now depending on where we want to move. But that wasn't one of the options. Maybe, in a couple of years from now. But that is, in a nutshell, the financial planning and what it does for me. And what it did is it created not just like this kind of random idea, like, I just got to replace my income and how am I going to do that? Which is very daunting, right? It actually gave me specific numbers and how much I would have to dip into savings and how much I would have to sacrifice within the first couple of years, but gave me 3 years of you'll be okay for 3 years as long as you do this. Which, within 3 years, if it doesn't work out, then, I have other choices. I can revisit. There's nothing that says I can't change as I go and evolve. So anyway, sorry, this one's a little long. And it's been a long day in Amsterdam. I went to see some windmills today. Very exciting. A little too touristy for me, though. So we just made dinner here at our Amsterdam home, and I really enjoyed it, to tell you the truth. Okay. Speaking of financial planning, I saved a lot of money, too, which was nice, instead of going out to dinner tonight. But, yeah, that's about it. That being said, I highly recommend looking at a financial planner, regardless of what you're trying to do, because it really helps plan your life out, essentially. Your retirement, make sure you have enough, and just a lot less stress in my life. Things like she actually had us get more life insurance for, in general, which I thought we had enough, but apparently we didn't. But now I feel so much better knowing that, if anything happens, the kids are covered. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.
Where are we going now?
To the next windmill.
Why? Why are we going to the next windmill?
To see it.
That one was so pretty. That windmill was so pretty.
Yeah, it was. What kind of windmill was it?
As orange and white. See?
Yeah, it's for lumber.
There's the